go. You know what day of the week it is. It's Thursday, baby. You know what that means? Coming through a community night, and we talking that tech. Here with
Mm-mm-mm.
my boy Chris, like usual.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I might be in there. Come get these hands. Come catch these ninja hands.
I mean, it's perfect because you play the ninja and you be in and out of community like a ninja. So, and then we got a super special guest, one of my all-time favorite players. Many people know him, many people don't, because the Colorado FGC is just crazy now. So many new heads, but this is the OG of the OG that I personally know. My man Halfro.
Hey,
Indeed.
yo.
Name don't make sense no more.
Oh, gone. No throw. Old
No,
man.
bro. I think he's been around a little bit too long though to change the name. Honestly, can't go no fro.
Yeah. I had to drop the GGPO on him, show some age.
So for people that don't know, Half's been around for a long time. I got, I think we all became good friends with him because I mean he was always a really good player, but he was also super chill and very cordial with people. And I mean it was almost kind of like I don't want to compare him to somebody else, but like it was almost kind of like Colorado Yipes level energy. Like bro, he'd bring the hype. You would know where he was at in the room. So I got kind of close with him, and then he moved. Man, what year was that? What year did you move out of Colorado?
It was like 2010.
2010. Yeah, that sounds about right. So Street Fighter 4 dropped. I remember we got to go to Evo, and then we did like an Evo. Um, I don't even know what to call it. Like he did like an all weekend gathering thing
Oh
at
yeah,
his
that Peter.
apartment.
Yeah. Oh okay. Yeah. Yeah.
No, this wasn't even Peters. This was at Half's. I remember this shit. Like this is way, way back, and I was still ass at the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's back when I was hosting like the prep gatherings. Like if you just wanted to come get your, get riled up for Evo, get yourself straight, as straight as you can, play all the games you can all weekend before you head out.
And that's when I think I realized that like, bro, I'm a gamer, but y'all some gamers
That's what.
because that was like my first experience. I actually think the first like experience I actually had was at Pixel and Hydro's place,
Mm,
and I think they
yep,
called it
Hollow
Pixel
House.
Fresh or something like that. And
Yep.
uh,
Sunoco versus Capcom.
yep,
Oh
yep,
yeah, bro. Well, I had the. That's when I
Throwbacks.
worked at Play and Trade. And I had that. What was it? Twilight. What? Moonlight,
Mm-hmm.
where you had to use it to hack. So I would just never sell it. I would just keep it at
Yep.
work. And if anyone need to hack their
Twilight.
Wii, I would just bring it up from straight from work, hack the Wii, take it back to work.
Yep.
yep.
Muy Classico.
Yeah, that's what I was working at Play and Trade. I had that. Never sold that Zelda game. Kept it just to hack people's Wii's.
Yeah, I remember going, and it was just there were so many people there, bro, and like we was there for the weekend. Like it was an all day event, and people were just sitting there playing games. And I'm like, bro, I love playing games, but like I think when we went to halves and we were there for 3 days, and it was just people grinding, bro. I was like, yo, I'm not ready for this shit. And
I
then I
miss
go and
those.
look at people's Steam time, and I'm like, oh, okay. I don't play this game. Y'all play this game. All right, so we'll jump right in. Um, we'll start it off with half. How long you been playing games? Did you always kind of start with FGC stuff, or did it just kind of come later on? And I feel like everybody always kind of has a backstory before their FGC, things of that nature.
So I don't want to go like, man, we're gonna go in the annals of time.
That's
read,
no. That's the
read.
point. That's the point. People don't
No,
know.
that's what we're here for,
The
man.
people don't know, so that's why we're here.
All right. So my dad put me on. The first time I ever played Street Fighter 2 was on the SNES. My dad put me on. I was playing World Warrior, getting smoked by my cousins, and just remember falling in love with just like everything about Street Fighter 2. And this is the SNES version, mind you. So we're not even really playing Street Fighter 2. We just playing like a love interpretation of the best we can get right now. Um, but and that was probably, I think, man, I was young, maybe 6, 7, I don't know. I wasn't too old. Um, yeah, actually, I think it was like 6 or 7. And I used to like we would go to the mall sometimes with my mom or whatever, and me and my younger brother, and we would go to like you guys probably don't know this, but there's this mall, Buckingham Mall, which was the old Aurora Mall, like Aurora Mall before it was cool. So they had a ton of games, and they had X Men vs Street Fighter, Killer Instinct, pretty much everything that was like a mainstay game you played, Mortal Kombat 2, everything that you would play. I would beg her, hey, while you going around the mall, let me just get like $2 between me and my brother that will last like 7 minutes total. And we would just sit and watch the bigger kids play, right? Um, so we had that. That's before I was really like, old enough to like go on the bus or like be by myself, or maybe just me and my brother just hanging out. The Aurora Mall came a little bit later. I would say I probably really started frequenting the Aurora Mall itself around like 99, 2000. And I was back then. You had Baby Smiles, which you nobody knows who that is on this cast right now, but Baby Smiles, which is my brethren, Victor, Wu, Holden would show up. You get Big D, Young Sang, um, the Colorado Springs crews. So it'd be like Chad would randomly show up, Skills would randomly show up just to like play games, because that's just how it was back then. It was very tribal, like yo, invaders in our arcade,
You said Young
And,
saying,
That's why it's funny to
yeah,
hear Jerome was like, I was close to him because I was like, coming up, me and Halfro weren't close because he was Denver and I was Spring, so we weren't close until
that's
you
fair.
play.
That's fair. And I do remember that. Like, times have changed a lot. Like, I
Yeah.
remember when I first kind of got into the Colorado scene, bro. It was Springs or die. I still got a Nike T-shirt in the closet from when we went to Evo one year, because the Nike store you could print shirts, and I got one that says Colorado Springs versus the world, because like that's what it was. Like that was our territory, so it was really rare. Not that like we had like actual beef, but it was cool to like get friendships with like Denver people. And like I just remember, personally, the two people I got the closest with was Halfro and then Recon, and then Halfro moved, so it was like, yo, we're friends, and then it was like, bye. I mean, we still chatted and stuff, but it wasn't like,
right.
we didn't get to kick it and things like that. So we're over here reminiscing.
That's a point. They need to
But
know.
you said young saying. Is this the same saying? Because I only know like mid saying. So or like
No,
is
yeah, man.
Tekken
Hey, man.
8 saying like old saying now, or
Yeah, man. Current saying, like, all these dudes, they used to just hang out. Like, it would be like, Vic would like arrange an event, and it'd be like Holden and Wu. Like, those two were like the gel of the community, honestly. At that time,
Mhm.
Tekken was like a central focusing factor in the Aurora community for sure. And then you had the other groups would like come and just hang out based on that. Like Tekken Tag was big then, and Tekken 4 started to take over shortly after like that point. We never had like Tekken 3. Tekken 3 is like Kyle's era. That's a little bit before me, just like a little bit. But yeah, so you had like man, there's like 1,000 names, and it's not gonna matter to anybody else. But like, just there was like the Westminster crew, which was like Big D, Isaac, who we all know, Uncle Tio Isaac, uh, sang, and then you had Elliot, who was like, he was like honorary Westie, he associated with, and then you had Aurora, which was like Vic, Smiles, me. You had other players that were in Aurora, like Scott and Kenshin, who, damn, this ran wild old names.
Uh-huh.
And then you had the Springs, of course. And then I would say probably around 2001, it really diversified like significantly more, because it was very, very Tekken heavy. Higgins, by the way, too, very big contributor to the community early on, and had like gatherings and where everyone really got to know each other and like really like coalesce and become a real community rather than like, hey, here's some tribes that just like hang out the arcade sometimes. Let's go to the mountains. We'll get ripped, play Tekken, Soul
Man,
Calibur,
I
whatever.
missed out. That
And
was
then
right before my time. I missed out on the mountain parties.
we like actually created like a cohesive environment after that, like everyone got to know each other. But I would say around like 2001, 2002, as Aurora really started digging into 2D and I started digging into 2D, more people came on, and then that's when I got to meet like more of the Springs, Don, Tech, Joe, the other Joe, who was always mad and wanted to play everyone in Alpha, but no, was really playing Alpha like that at the time. Bunch of different players, but yeah, it was very tribal, but it was cool because that like friendly rivalry is good for like skill sets. Like everyone's trying to get better.
Yeah, and you guys came from a different time too, because like between the rivalries and like you addressed it earlier, like, yo man, you're going to an arcade, so you're spending money. So if you're getting on these cabinets, you're trying to stay, bro. It ain't
Right.
no like, oh, I'm gonna run this first to two and be out or whatever. Like, nah, man.
No, 100%.
So it sounds like you kind of started with Tekken.
Yeah, early was 3D, like real heavy 3D, just because that's just like everyone was on Tekken, so you kind of just had to play what everybody else was playing.
Yeah. So it's kind of cool because Colorado is actually really heavy in Tekken still nowadays. So it's kind of cool to almost see the state go back to like its roots essentially. So what would you say is the game that kind of got you out of that 3D realm?
Really, man, it's nuts because like CVS1 was like so big in Aurora. Like Tekken Tag and CVS1 were like the two games you had to know how to play. Like they would run between one or the other. We loved MVC2 as well, but like they swapped out our MVC2 for a CVS1 because it's both Naomi. So
Right.
like, yeah, so they swapped the CVS1 in, and we like didn't get to play MVC2 for a while. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy too because if you like have any inclination on the various like arcades in Colorado, one of the biggest brands was the Tilt. And so you had the Tilt in Aurora, you had the Tilt in Colorado Springs.
Yep.
Those two managers talked to each other and swapped games. So like, so sometimes you would be like, "Yo, we want to play a certain game," and we know exactly where it went. Like we knew exactly.
Opposite down here because I'd be like, come down. I was before I was playing seriously, so all I was like, ooh, I came up. The Versus series was all I knew in the arcade. I knew, like I said, I knew a launcher and I knew Magic series. That's all I knew. So when I go to Citadel Mall and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna play some Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and I'm like, what is this? I don't. What? Why is what? And I'm like, what happened? And again, back then, I didn't know games came out, so all of a sudden I'm like, why is Guile and Terry and what's happening here? I came here because I wanted to play Launch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yep. True,
Where
man,
was the Tilt at in the Springs?
It was at Citadel Mall, the arcade that was downstairs before.
Okay. Because there's still an arcade there, but I don't think it's called the Tilt.
Yeah, I don't think it's Tilt anymore.
I think Tilt is dead.
Yeah, because I had one of my friends, Kenny, worked there for a long ass time, and I'd go there and play Initial D because he was working there. So I'd pay him $5 and he'd give me $10 worth of tokens, and I'd be there all damn day, kind of thing. So Tilt was before my time, so I was more curious than anything.
Yeah, no, it's the same
CVS1.
same place because I forgot Kenny did work there. Yeah, same place. It just was Tilt back in the day.
I'm trying to remember CVS1, bro, and I don't even remember CVS.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I remember CVS2.
You remember that game.
I remember CVS2. Oh, yeah, I do remember it now. The Millennium Fight 2000. Okay, yeah, I remember. Okay.
One of the coolest aesthetics of like all the Versus games, like crazy stages, the music, the announcer, love all the aesthetics, but the gameplay, vomit. The game is terrible, bro.
Oh, you say gameplay is vomit. Which gameplay was worse? CVS1 or SVC Chaos?
Dude, that's a crazy toss. Like people are gonna try to strangle me, but you can't force Street Fighter characters into 4 buttons And both of these games have the exact same problem, except for you have SNK problems in SNK versus Capcom, right? Like
Right.
Yeah.
unique SNK issues, back turned unblockables with the Kuma, and like the game has lots of fun idea in theory, but like in reality, it's terrible. It's just terrible for different reasons. Like if I had to pick, I'm just dunking them both in the trash. They both need to go in the trash. Freaking garbage, bro.
I don't even
Yeah.
know why, but like I think I had a random copy of SVC Chaos on Xbox, and I was playing it, and I was like, bro, what the hell? Like, but this was also before I started really playing. Like, his Third Strike was the first game that like I kind of dabbled in and was like, yo,
Okay,
man,
I like
Young's
an
so
old core.
cool, and yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I
When
started
it
in
got
like
released on
'08,
PS3, it was a big deal, you know?
and I don't know if you guys remember this, but like Third Strike came out on Dreamcast.
Hmm.
And for whatever reason, the Dreamcast copy had like weird, almost like scan lines, but it was like pixels were off. I don't know if you guys remember that.
I don't, because I never played. I always had a bootleg. Anytime I ever played it on Dreamcast, it was a bootleg copy. So,
Okay. Well, I remember I had a
but
Dreamcast, and I was like, I've always loved fighting games. I just never played them like competitively. So I picked it up, got it from Walmart, and I brought it home, and it had like these weird scan lines on it. And I'm like, bro, what the hell is going on? So I had my mom take me back to Walmart to return it. Got another copy. It still happened. We basically returned the same game 3 times, and she was like, "We're not doing this anymore. Clearly, it's not the game."
Smoked by Capcom.
Yeah.
Sorry, Capcom. Not like this.
Yeah, pretty much. So it just got to a point where I was like, yo, it is what it is, bro. All right. So you guys have been around for a bit and you guys have played some of the OG shit. So I want to kind of ask you guys and pick your brains. What do you guys think about current fighting games?
I mean, I personally am digging a lot of them. It's stuff that honestly play everything I want to play. I'm liking Street Fighter 6. I'm liking Grand Blue. This is the first time I've put some decent time into a Tekken before. Um, we'll see what the Dragon Ball patch is about because I might have to get back on that. So
Because we just
overall,
want the game to work for Dragon Ball, right?
yeah, we want rollback to not create
Because
visual
I heard it's
glitches.
pretty bad.
Right.
Yeah, like I still haven't installed it. We're waiting to see what this new patch is, if it fixed all these visual glitches and stuff that happened before. But if so, then I'll be back on that. So, Melty Blood, I like the current Melty Blood. I haven't played that in forever, but I like the current Melty Blood. Like, Strive, I just fell off. Like, it wasn't even like I disliked the game. I just kind of fell off. And then, like I
Yeah.
said, with the Justin episode, I just never got back on it. And it was patches, characters, everything. So overall, I don't have any of the hate that a lot of people seem to have for these current games. I'm enjoying myself. I'm playing a bunch.
What are your thoughts, Half? Because I know you still play a lot of GGPO or like Fightcade stuff, and so like, what do you think of current games? What's kind of necessarily maybe turning you off from current games? Is it nostalgia or is it like mechanic based stuff?
I think overall, right, I feel like we're in a fighting game renaissance, right? I think that's obvious. That's an obvious statement.
Yeah.
Um, but there's a lot of things I like. I feel like the fighting game community is as strong it's as ever been, right, in fighting games. The state of fighting games don't necessarily match with things that I necessarily enjoy, but that doesn't mean they're bad. You know, I think old dudes need to take a step back and realize that not everything was made for them. There's different generations of games, different ideas, different focuses over time of like what is good or what will bring in more people, and they kind of just roll with that. You got to decide, hey, can I stomach these changes? Do I like this, or do I not like this enough to not play it? I feel like there's limits to it, right? Like Street Fighter 6, I feel like there's ease of use, but the game of mental stack that they've created where you have to pay attention to everything, including your meter, is very reminiscent of like old school style games. But then you have games like Strive. I'm sorry, we knew I was going there.
Halfro
Which,
loves Strive, in case y'all didn't know.
man,
The ultimate
game,
sarcasm, by the way.
it games that just like dismantle the idea presented before it is just like a wild, like, it's very difficult for me to stomach that amount of change. Like, okay, I should not play this. Thankfully, though, I'm of the thought process that, you know, just because you don't like something doesn't mean you take to Twitter to fucking shit on it every 12 seconds, right? Like, we really need to, like, disengage. Okay, I know I don't like this. I'm not enjoying playing this. Are there other games like this that I can play? There is. Xrd has, or excuse me, Rev 2 has rollback, and so does Plus R. You know, stop crying. Play the game you want to play. You know.
Yeah, that's one of the things I say as well, because like I know a lot of like the Smash community and FGC is kind of like a separate thing, but like one thing I always give credit for the Smash community is they play the shit that they want to play. Like, I understand like when like Street Fighter 6 and these companies are throwing $1 million pot, like I get it. But like before that, like dog, ain't nobody forcing you to play Street Fighter 4. Like
Especially
if you
now.
want to play Third Strike, play Third Strike. Like
It was
you
it felt a little different back then because it was kind of like you had to play what was available at a tournament. So like you play in Street Fighter 4, but you're playing by yourself. But now there's like, bro, we here. Everything's on GGPO. I guess Street Fighter 4 ain't got rollback yet. So haha.
Street Fighter
but
4's internet. I mean, it wasn't.
but
Street Fighter 4 is crazy, but you're right.
Yeah.
but like everything else was kind of like, because like the reason I got good at Third Strike is because I had KLT. KLT didn't love Third Strike. It was just he had no one to play Guilty Gear with, so he got to play Third Strike. Now I could get on and find a Melty Blood match. I can get on and find Tekken and Street Fighter 6. I swear I can find a Street Fighter 5 match right now if I want to hear. Like there's no excuse now. Like so people bitching and complaining, especially when they're like trying to make a living off of it. Get you a degree, bro. Like,
Palms up. Like, I don't understand you right. Palms up, man.
go jump in that call center. Like it's a rite of passage if you work in fighting. If you're in fighting games, you can work in a call center for a while, and save your mental health because it ain't worth it. And the people out there bitching ain't good enough to get the big money anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's 100% true, man. Like, I definitely don't think that you need to spend your energy where it's best utilized. Don't waste your time on stuff you just don't enjoy. It's crazy.
Yeah, bro. And that's what, like, to me, the internet has made tough guys kind of thing. So, like, oh, you're on the internet and you're saying stuff that most people wouldn't say to your face kind of thing. And that's what, like, kills me about the internet. And it's just, like, I feel like you just have to take it in, like, micro dosages because you get on and you start reading shit and it's just everything is posted as like a snarky comment or some, you know, you're wrong, I'm right kind of thing. And it's just like, bruh, you can have your opinion, I can have mine, go about your day.
Right.
You don't like some shit, just don't play it. I know that's a crazy thought.
You know, there's this meme of like, yo, this game is dead. Like the new community, quote unquote new. Don't dunk on me, new community. New community. And this game is dead, and they got a sad face or whatever. It's like 100 players are playing online, and then you're on GGPO. And it's like this game is looks like a good game, and there's like 17 players playing in the lobby on Fightcade.
17 people on, let's go.
You know, like, just play what you love, man.
Yep.
There's 17 people that are sitting here and playing this game you love. Get in there with them, you know?
Just
you
know
those 17
they gonna
players
bust
are
your
good,
ass.
bro.
Yep.
If they're playing that game still, just be ready, bro.
Yep. Get on there, go YouTube all that glitches and everything, because they got them.
All right, I get smoked.
You think you like KOF 2K2, and then you gonna fight a Vanessa.
You ain't never lied, right? Go jump on X-Men versus Street Fighter. Oh, Joker's on tonight, huh? Let me play.
Oh man, X-Men vs Street Fighter is even worse because you can't even play the characters you like because
Right.
I forget who I played. I played Skills one time. I think I picked Magneto. He's like, you play Magneto, and he picked Rogue, and I was like, yeah, I want to play. I like Magneto. He's like, okay, and he picked Rogue, and I was like, oh, I guess I'm not allowed to play Magneto.
Is she like a big counter to Mags?
She steals whoever she kisses you. She steals your powers. So
Okay.
I play Magneto. Next thing you know, I'm getting tri-jumped on. So it's like don't. It's like you shouldn't pick. It's like next thing you know, a rogue in my face, cry jumping me because she kissed me.
So how do you counter the rogue? What happens if a rogue's fighting a rogue? Do you just stay the same?
I don't even know. Like that was beyond me. That's beyond. I've definitely. It's a fun game to watch, not for me. I don't like any game where it's just you get touched and you just gotta hold that. I enjoy watching it. It's good stuff. Like I definitely.
A whole liar. He a lie. He lying on stream right now.
Nah,
4K
bro.
lying.
Nah.
Man,
What
this man
game?
plays Dragon Ball.
You don't die. You don't die in one touch on Dragon Ball. You don't die in one touch in Uni. You get Oki. I said now if you games where you gotta guess, I'll do that. But you get like you still like I'm like you're not typically you're not gonna just one touch off of just any random hit in Dragon Ball unless I had spent all my resources, all kinds of stuff. And even then, when your character comes in, what happens? Back to neutral. It ain't Marvel 2, even Marvel like at least Marvel 2, you at least get a shot, but you can get
Yeah, you
unblockable.
get shot by Cable when
Well,
you're coming
but
in,
like
and
you
you
get a
gotta get
but
jump shot.
you got there's a little thing. Marvel 2, Marvel 3 Ultimate, I just 5 mix-ups and then you're getting zeroed. Like any game like that, I just don't love it. Like when there's
I
like
don't know,
I
man.
got
You said
touched once,
you
I'm
you
done.
streamed with KLT, and I know Makoto's got some TODs.
She has one, and even then, that was back then, bro. That
That ass
was
grab, bro.
that was in 04, 05, bro. We couldn't do that shit. Wasn't no one doing double Fukiyagi back then?
You let this man
People
techno.
still
You
ain't
let him
doing it
know.
like that. There's like 3 Makotos that do it like consistently. 4,
It's
I
hype.
guess. Cause Alan does that shit when he's in practice. But yeah, like, and even that would be like I said, if that happened all the time, like every match was like I just get grabbed and I'm dead, I'd be like, you know what, fuck Makoto too. But that don't happen.
I do get it because like I talked about this in the last episode. So when I was at Evo, I played Marvel 3 this past year because it's like, yo, I love that game. I don't play that game like that, but I'm like, yo, if they're gonna bring it back, I'm gonna play it. You know what I mean? I'll have fun with it just to try to show support, throw money towards the pot, whatever. And like, I had to play a Zero May Cry, and I was like, yo, it wasn't even fun, bro. I was just sitting in the corner like blocking, and it was like, oh, you got hit, you know. And then his homies cheering him on, yelling at me like, yeah, he's getting it back. And I'm like, bro, yep. I have no response to this. All right, so I think this is a good kind of transition to, because we kind of already spoke to it. So when Half was speaking about like, you know, current games versus old games or whatever, and we kind of dabbled in it. Like, so what would you say is like your favorite mechanic from a fighting game? Or I'd like to expand upon it even more as like, what would you like to see in new games that they don't have that you would like to see maybe even come back?
Ooh. That one's kind of tough. I play a lot of fighters. I think probably my most ubiquitous favorite would be custom combos. And that's just been like my life forever.
That's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
So like be an agent, custom combo.
Yeah.
Alpha 2, custom combo. Alpha 3, custom combo. Last Blade 2, similar, but not exactly there, but custom combos. I like custom combos. The implementation of custom combos is generally pretty bad.
Yeah.
The fun that you're having
slope.
doing custom combos is another story.
Yeah.
You gotta watch a movie sometimes, but
Yeah.
this is fun for the guy doing it. Gotta remember there's 2 ends to that, right?
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah.
Sitting there holding your stick like, yo, man, I'm gonna have a turn eventually. Just wait.
Yeah. Like I'm thinking about the history of custom combos, and it's like it's either they end up broke or they end up useless. Like I'm thinking Street Fighter 4 Jury. I was trying to make Feng Shui engine a thing for a while, and it wasn't really doing it.
It's
But
good now, though.
yeah, it's good now,
Yeah,
and that's the
it's
thing
great
though.
now.
We'll see how it ends though. That's the thing. It might end up a little too good. We'll see how this goes as people really explore it. If they get it right, hey, it might be the first time they really got his custom combo right.
Yeah, I immediately think of Alpha 3. Like, that's anytime somebody says custom combo, that's my first thought. Not that I
Getting
played the game, but I just remember watching combos and people just juggling people in the corner and
I
shit. And
remember,
you're like,
yeah,
all right,
gonna watch those Acho videos and they just cut the time to the 3 seconds because they're like, okay, we don't, he ain't drop it. Cut it over
yep.
to the time over. I remember the first time I didn't know about that because again I knew of the games but I didn't play them seriously. So when I'm like looking at old videos coming back to it and I'm like, what's happening? And he's like doing it, but and then the timer just cuts to 2 seconds just because it's timed them out to kill him. And I was like, oh my
That's how I
god.
feel when I watch Marvel 3 now, because like they get TAC infinites, and I'm just like, here we go, because it's just gonna be in the corner, just doing a repeated thing, and you're like, all right, we get it, bruh. So Chris, what would you say mechanic wise that maybe like so like I'll give some insight. So like one of my favorite mechanics, even though like I never played the game to that level, was like I always thought K Groove was cool
Hmm.
in CVS 2 because I mean it was kind of like Ultra in Street Fighter 4, but I thought it was better because it almost kind of forced you like, oh, you take enough damage, you get meter, it activates. I love that like now it's like you're almost on the offensive for it now because
Hmm.
you're like, yo, I want to get this super combo off. Now's my time. I've been kind of getting my ass beat. Let me kind of switch the tides of battle. With this activation popped. So
Yeah, that's tough. And I do love me some Just Defense. I think I might say feints. I always like
Mm,
feints. I think they're really cool. I think they help extend pressure. You can get creative with them, and I think that's one of the reasons I tried to learn Garo back in the day because I thought feints were so cool. And just be like, I'm over here like, yeah, well, fierce, feint, fierce, fake crouch, fierce. I was like, oh, that's so cool. I don't even like Terry like that. I just like the idea of doing, like I don't even like Terry like that. It's just so cool. And so I think I guess Faints might be my favorite, just because I've picked characters just because I don't even like Johnny aesthetically don't even love him like that. But misfinders and and misfinder cancels and stuff like that, that's so
ooh, yeah.
cool. Just counter hit, feint, 5K into another combo. Yeah, I just think, yeah, that's always been really dope for me. So I think any game that has feints, which we'll see how the City of the Wolves come out and how it works, but all that stuff. I mean, Rock's always been fun for me, but KOF 15 with the rising tackle feints and that stuff was, yeah, I'm
feints
all
can be
excited.
two different things, right? Because I'm thinking like feint, so I think of like Steve from Tekken, because he's got some like kind of sway back feints type
Mm.
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, he does. He
yeah,
does have feints. Yeah, yeah. The way that Tech is using it is more like from Mark of the Wolves is
yeah.
like a canceling mechanic.
Okay.
Like you can cancel into a special that like leaves you on frame advantage. It's kind of
Oh,
like a
oh, so like
pre
Viper.
RC. Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
less
Yeah.
like
Exactly.
Viper. Yes, exactly like
Okay.
Viper. Yes, just canceling. I think just the fact the canceling moves is cool, and so far, like I mean, again, you can get there with like Mark of the Wolves, and you just gotta take this guard cancel infinite. But like I think they do really well with Viper. I think Johnny's does it really well. To some extent, you get a little bit of that when you play the Bushin Ryu characters because you get the run stops and stuff like that. But I
Yeah.
love just that kind of like Yuzu from Uni, stuff like that. I really think is really cool. So
So to explain to our newer viewers, they're basically talking about like you're canceling a move essentially early, right?
yeah.
And you're putting yourself in like an advantageous
Yeah,
situation.
so either so think of Johnny. He holds you hold his sword, and he can do things while he's in there. So if you ever watch Guilty Gear, you'll see that. If you ever watch Eunice, you see Yuzu. She'll flash her sword and then she'll hold it. Um, I'm trying to think of any modern game that currently has something like that
I guess
besides
Ed kind of
Johnny.
has that right with his grab.
There, yeah, he does that. He kind of does the hitman, the swing the arm. So
Yeah.
something of that, something like that, except it's a lot faster. Because in Garo, you can cancel a normal. Can't you can literally on the right frame. Let's say like Terry, he can literally do fierce, feint, crouching fierce. And because he's canceling his moves into another flow. Just fierce, feint, you're canceling. Another fierce, you push back. Oh, but wait, I'm still down here. This is like I literally when Viper was coming out, I would go practice Garo and practice the timing for Fears, Faint Fears with Garo. And when Viper came out, I had like I already knew what I was doing.
Yeah, just go watch Latif because I remember him canceling seismos
Yeah.
over and over again, and it was so dope too because if you did it right, like you didn't spend bar on it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Oh, I miss Viper. Season 2, hopefully.
But I love characters like that too because excuse me, I love when I am a person of like, I like games to be easy and accessible, but I also enjoy when they put things into the game where like, if you put the time into that character or that game, you get rewarded for it. So like Street Fighter 4, you could just pick up and play, but there are characters like Viper where it's like, yo, she's hard. Like she's meant to be hard. Like that's her whole, point of the character kind of thing. So I love the risk or the reward for that. And that's what I thought was going to happen with Guile and 6 with the perfect sonic booms. And then it's like,
Bro.
I've been playing Guile just to try to help a friend out. And I'm like, I get perfect sonic booms by accident. I don't even know what I'm doing. It's just perfect. And I'm like, oh,
When we did that
all right.
video, I didn't even think about the fact. I was like, oh, I've never played Guile in this game at all. Perfect. Oh, is that easy?
Right.
That window is wide, like
Yeah.
for the slide.
It's like, what are you doing? I'm sonic booming. I didn't even tell you like.
I was just
As
doing my
someone who-
regular timing and it hit every time.
As someone who decided to like jump into Tekken 8 and like as a fresh Mishima player, did you feel like you jumped into accidental electric wing office?
No. Like if I've never got it, I was trying it every single time. And if I don't get it, I'm like, okay, I'm doing this too slow. I'm over here looking, bro. I mean, practice. I picked Guile the first time and I was did it like 4 or 5 times in a row. Right now, I don't know if I would get on and hit first try 5 in a row. I gotta work my way up to that. Okay, I'm doing this one a little too slow. I hit this too before I hit down forward. And then you get to okay. There we go.
Mhm.
Now it's time I can get on and play some people. Guile, I could. It's perfect. I haven't heard Sonic. I forgot he had Sonic Boom. I've only heard perfect and shooty.
You never heard CPS1 Sonic Boom.
I forgot. Like I don't even get to hear Sonic anymore. I like hearing Sonic. I want some nostalgia here. I want Sonic Boo. No, just perfect.
Good, man.
Not just
So
perfect.
I thought Karen was kind of cool too with that in 5, because she had like that. It wasn't
Yeah.
a just frame.
Yeah, I wasn't a just frame, but it
tempo,
was.
But it was like it was tighter than other moves in the game.
Yeah. It was definitely the window was. It was probably like a 4 window. So nothing crazy. Like practice, you definitely got a consistent. But you have to practice.
Jab tinkle. I couldn't do it, man. It was difficult.
You have to get them. You got to get the fingers, bro. You got to play a little piano.
So we kind of this isn't one of the questions that I had on the plate for tonight, but I'm curious to see what you think of Tekken 8 half, because you've been playing Tekken for a while, and I know it's a kind of a hot button right now in the FGC because Tekken 8 is very rush down heavy compared to most Tekkens. So I know Arslan Ash has been very vocal on it. He recently changed his kind of seat of not being as vocal. So I'm curious to see what someone that's been playing it for 10 plus years thinks.
I feel like I don't have enough clout to really even touch on this topic, but
He's lying to
you. I do feel that from my experience from playing Tekken 7 like really heavy, because I played, we kind of played all of 4, 5, 6, Tag 2, and then 7. It is offensive heavy, and you can like get snowballed in the game, and sometimes it's not even like a situation where you could have avoided it, right? Like you could out neutral somebody. There's a lot of moves in the game that like are built to touch you, and even if you understand that, like, and you will, like, defensively, you understand this move is built to touch you. For example, Jin's 442. A wave dash 442 is going to touch you. Like, you're going to try to move around it, and you're gonna try to play as defensively as you can, trying to create distance or whatever, that move's gonna touch you in heat. And he can cancel off of it, and he gets frame advantage, and you have to guess. Like that's just the reality of it. Like after that's done,
Maybe that's why I'm enjoying it. It puts you in those
yeah,
situations where you have to guess. I'm like, that's my shit. That's all anime
that,
is.
I mean, that's just what it is. Like that's what this game is currently, right? Maybe they'll tone down things in the future. Maybe things won't be as advantageous as you like block things, or they'll allow you to step certain things because in previous Tekkens, a lot of the complaint is that there was a solution for many of the situations on offense or on defense rather. So like you could be like, all right, Dragunov has done up forward 1+2, his little overhead smash or whatever on
hmm
you. This is +3, so I can step if he tries to do a certain thing, or he can do a tracking move here, or I can step block and block the tracking move that usually is negative, so I get my turn back. That it feels like the nuance of that is what Tekken players are missing, because there's a lot of scenarios where, hey, I'm just like plus right here and I get to guess again from the best characters. I get to guess again, and you get to like hold this. That feels very not Tekken-y. It feels like a
Oh,
different
okay.
game.
That's why I'm enjoying. Okay, I'm glad you said that because you were explaining why I'm enjoying this Tekken. It plays like a outside of the mechanics and the movement. It plays like a 2D fighter. Outside of the fact
Mhm.
that I have to +4 does not mean I'm plus in this game because
No,
step is
right.
still
Not
there.
entirely.
So I still have to
Right.
guess. I still have to guess low or guess tracking if you're gonna step. But a lot of things that where I'm like, yeah, there's so many. I don't have to worry about a lot of that. My options are you gonna step? Are you gonna block? And then I have these things that beat that. They dumbed it down for me, and I appreciate it. But I see the people complaining, and I'm like, I got Reina and I got 442. I'm sorry, bro.
I feel like the complaints are warranted and not warranted at the same time. Like, it feels bad to lose. Duh, right? It feels worse when you've played the game for a long time and it's Tekken has gone undergone this transformation of that Street Fighter has gone through multiple iterations. It's
Mm,
happened multiple times. The game moves multiple times, and you have to adjust every single time a new version of Street Fighter comes out, right?
yeah.
Guilty Gear or anime in general, the exact same thing. You should not, you're wild if you expect one version of Guilty Gear to really play identical to the next version.
Yeah.
Bar me, what, 20 minutes ago being salty about Strive. But, but,
I mean, the thing with
but
Strive
like,
though, it doesn't feel like Guilty Gear.
that's what I mean.
Strive was the first time
That's
where
what
it
I
was a
mean.
whole different type of game because like even Exard coming from AC and stuff felt like it felt like a natural transition gameplay wise. The last
Right.
time they did something like that was like from Slash to AC where it
Yeah.
felt like so
Huge
different.
jump. Yeah. But yeah, Tekken hasn't had this upheaval yet. So like for them to get this upheaval now, that they're
Mm, mm.
experiencing what like the rest of the community has been going through already. Unfortunately, they get their first dibs of it, their
Yeah.
first little nibbles of it without, without any abrupt changes or anything, or like, hey, let's take a look at this. No, let's sit on this for a little bit. Let's, we'll get our first balance change here, what, at the end of this month? First balance change of Tekken, and see if they actually enjoy it, a little bit more after that. But that game's gonna go through highs and lows. I played Kaz in season 1 of Tekken 7, and I was getting smoked. That's just, I'm just keeping it a buck. I had to switch to Hey. I was like, yo, this is terrible. I gotta switch to a different character that I can at least try and compete. Like, this character's terrible. Like, it may be a thing like, hey, I want to play a certain way right now. That's not how this game is playing right now. I need to move with the meta.
Mm.
Yeah, no, that's great. It's actually super helpful too, because like I've kind of been following the Tekken 8 issues that people have been having, but like I don't play Tekken like that, so I was like, I don't understand what the issue is when people are like, it's just so offensive, and I'm like, cool, but the way you explain it, I was like, oh, okay, makes sense, got it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I know that's like Arslan Ash's biggest complaint was like the defensive options. So when you're in that situation when you're like, oh, Dragonov's gonna do this, so now I have this option, I have this option. It's But then it's like, yo, I'm just gonna cancel it and still B plus. Kind of
Yeah,
removes that.
That's why
it's
you see those clips with Dragunov doing like down back. I think it's down back 3+4, the little shin kick, and they eat like 7 of them because they're like, dude, I don't know what to do here. I have to make decisions, but like all the decisions are crazy risky after that
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah, makes sense. And that's kind of to go back to the Strive conversation. To me, Strive, I don't think Strive is a bad game. I'll say that. I think Strive,
I
to
agree.
me, they pulled a DC on us, and they like my issue that I have with DC Comics is like, to me, they throw Batman in everything because they know Batman sells. So, and to me, Strive should have been a new fighting game, but instead they were like, oh, we'll just make it Guilty Gear because Guilty Gear sells, kind of thing. So that's my two
yeah.
cents on the conversation.
Especially now, the changes they made to it to make it easier don't make no damn sense. Because how are you going to be like, Gatlings need to go away because they're tough to understand, but then you're going to put chaos in the game and you're going to do these wall breaks and you're going to do the slumps that you can not wall break so you can get the reset to the slump. Like,
Yeah,
the technical stuff that they put in this game, which is, again, why I kind of never went back to it because I'm like, I have to learn so much new stuff to try to get back into this game that I used to play. I'm like, but you couldn't give me Gatlings? It was too hard for me to press kick slash heavy slash.
yeah, because Gatlings are very similar to like Magic series, right? Where you
Yeah.
just
And
Right.
they
lower
for
file.
me personally, they've always felt very intuitive. The buttons go in this order: punch, kick, slash, heavy slash. Like literally, the way a lot of people set up their buttons, they go in that order.
Yeah,
Right.
makes sense.
Yeah, man. No, I'm with you. That's just one of those things too. Like I don't want to get too deep into like Strive like conversation because like I feel like the old heads will like chime in with me. Like the things that they changed to like someone who like plays lots of Guilty Gear, there are not things that I would want to see go. Like I didn't want to see like crazy Oki go just because that to me is Guilty Gear. I feel
Mm.
like that's the roughest part of Guilty Gear. Your defense matters so much. Neutral matters so much because when you're on defense, it's quite awful.
Yeah.
Uh, and then conversions in Abare matter so much too, like where you can convert from the air into a grounded hit and get your offense going, or challenging in like a weird spot with a 6P or something and converting. Like as a Saul player, I play Saul, I play Johnny, a 6P into a wall bounce into the dunk with Saul changed the whole entire game for me, like
Mm.
just things like that. To see that go away, I see it happen somewhat in Strive, but like they for a lack of better words, they dumb down like a lot of the scenarios, right? They don't want you to have to deal with air to air scenarios. They don't want you to have to deal with uh, like strong counter neutral options, right? Skip neutral. Let's fight right now. I don't necessarily always guess. I need you to guess my counter, like, or my skip neutral option. I'm gonna jump instead. Like that's what they wanted from that, and that's okay. Like it gives newer players an option to like fight, because if you're strong in these certain areas in older Guilty Gears, it's really hard to get in on old Guilty Gear heads.
Mhm.
It's really tough to get them to crack in neutral. If you could beat anybody, but it just is what it is. But in this game, they don't want those older heads to be able to have that like advantageous situation.
Yeah, that makes sense. And all
Yeah.
right, so we got about 10 minutes left. Got a few more questions to get through, so I'm gonna keep us on track because I feel like we could have this conversation all night. Because I do think it is a good conversation, and that's not us just picking on Strive. I just think that's a good conversation in general.
Mhm.
Fighting games.
And I do think
Oh, absolutely.
Strive is the biggest like deviation from the previous, because like I said, like AC to XR, it made sense to changes that here. Strive was literally like I said, and they said this, so it is what it is. But it was it was brand new basically. They said this is what they're doing, everything's fresh, and I think that's why like even 8, and I see a lot of people complaining, but like I can a lot of the things that I lose to are legacy knowledge. So a lot of the things that the legacy heads still have that, whereas like yeah, so Strive just comes out as being the biggest one because even Street Fighter 6, you can point the parries. Street Fighter 3 had them. You can point the drive rush. It's literally just a faster FADC. Like there are some options you can point to, whereas Strive, I'm like,
That's why I laugh when everybody
threw it
complains
all
about
in.
Impact, and I'm like, did you play Street Fighter 4 and 5? Like, FADC, bro, that shit was crazy. Like, I remember when it came out, everybody's like, yo, what the hell?
Be happy you get the throw parry. What if I had FADC and I got a backdash every time?
Yeah.
What if I got the parry backdash every time, bro? You just got to deal with that.
Yeah, and I get it. Everyone's always gonna find their reason for why they don't like something or why they don't want to play it. And then I'm just like, let's not try to undercut 6 though, because Drive Impact is difficult. And I'm like, bro, FADC, I hated that shit. Like, yo, you guessed wrong on an uppercut, that should be your ass. And instead it was like backdash, and I'm like,
Nope.
come on, dog.
Yep.
Nah, man, nah. Like, that's Street Fighter principles right there.
Yep. Then this free wake up. Oh, you blocked it. Oh, too bad.
Yep.
For like what 3-4 seasons before they finally made it so you can punish it.
Yeah, I'm just having like flashbacks of that, and like trade uppercut ultras in vanilla with Ryu and Sagat and
Viper.
Bro.
and then you would still DP and backdash instead.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You were just looking for it. Like you go block it and you just hit it.
Whatever, man. We're good.
All right. So I think this is a more fun conversation. Let's kind of switch gears. But what is your guys' favorite memory of the FGC?
Ooh.
I know that's tough to single down to a single instance.
Yeah, that's really tough, man.
I can tell you mine. Mine's super simple. We've kind of talked about it before on the show. Mine's definitely when I met Chris in college. And I mean, yeah, we built an amazing friendship off of it, but it was also like, I've always dabbled in fighting games. So like we used to have like the homies on the block. There'd be 4 or 5 of us, and we always had that one dude that could actually do combos. But it wasn't even like combos. Like, yo, he could do Akuma's Raging Demon, and it was like, because when you don't know what you're doing and you're just button mashing, like you seeing this dude on command do a super combo, it was like the coolest thing. Like we could get it if you're like, mashing, kind of thing, and every once in a while it comes out or whatever. But then when I met Chris in college and like he was like, oh man, I'm going to Evo, and it was like, yo, I need to meet this dude. And then I'll never forget, that was like the biggest humble pie, like just right away. It was like, come to play and trade. We'll play some games, and I think the first game we ever played was Marvel 2.
Mm-hmm.
And I picked, I think it was Bone Wolverine or Wolverine.
Yeah.
He looked me dead in the face and was like, "You don't play fighting games."
Yo.
I was like, "Oh."
Yeah,
shit.
he came. I remember it was like I think we had color theory class together, and we had to do like the introductory, and I said I was going to Vegas to play Street Fighter, and then we had Illustrator class together, and we had computers in there, and there was a break, and I was watching third strike matches in the back, and he came, he's like, oh man, he's like, yeah, I was like, yeah, dude, he's like, oh, I play fighting games too. I was like, oh cool, I work at Play and Trade, blah blah, you should come on by. My boss said, like, as long as the place is clean, there's no customers, I don't care what you do in there. So I'd be in there playing games, I'd be practicing, and he came. And he picked Wolverine. I was like, oh, you don't play Marvel. And he's like, what do you mean? And I was like, watch. And I picked him SP. And that was like,
gotta get you first, huh?
Yeah. And I was not like I'm good at Marvel, but I can ROM.
Yep.
I can ROM, and I got a couple resets. That's it. That's all I need when no one knows how to play.
The Ice Cube shit. No Vaseline.
And I was like, he's like, what do you mean? I don't play. I was like, watch. And then MSP, short, Psylocke.
All right, so it doesn't have to be like one memory. Just give me like a fondest memory, something that like you say FGC and like a memory that comes to mind. Because it's difficult. I could do it as well.
Yeah.
Like I always love watching the Ghost Dog. I think it was Ghost Dog that did the documentary.
Yeah, Ghost Dog, Ikuze.
Yeah, that shit was so
Hey,
fire.
You could say.
the young
Um,
bro.
I think off top of my head, I'm just gonna say what comes to me first is my first time going to Nebraska for one of the Incubed.
Okay.
Because my way into the Colorado scene, because I didn't know about Fusion at first, was in through SRK. Colorado didn't have their own thread on SRK. Nebraska did. Nebraska knows Colorado. So I started before I actually started talking to Colorado
Oh,
people. I was talking to Nebraska people on SRK before they told me about Fusion. And so I was like, yo, I was buying VHS tapes off Cameron to get their strike matches. And so
Oh, let's
before
rewind. What's n cubed?
N cubed was the oh my god, what was it called? I don't recall what it stands for. Nebraska something. It was a Nebraska regional tournament. They have a lot of people from the Midwest come down. St. Louis would come down. Chicago would be there. Colorado would come. Some Texas guys come.
Japan.
Yeah, Japan has come in the past. They actually hosted. Go go talk. Well, I think they're on my YouTube too. But we gonna shout out the Sheed. If you play Third Strike, you know about the Sheed. He actually copies every video I have. He has copies of. Actually, he asked me, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm not giving up." But you could go watch Nebraska versus Japan, and you can watch USA versus Japan. Nebraska did better than the official USA team. Nebraska did
Hey.
better.
Third
Their
strike.
their strike, yeah, they did USA versus Japan, where they had like Justin and Pyro Lee and Ricky and some other people were on the team. And then they did Nebraska versus USA, and Nebraska did better. They both got kind of whooped, but Nebraska did better. They had a better score, and I think Nebraska was the only one that had like a winning score on one of the players, where they actually won more matches than that player did. But yeah, there's so I had known these people through the internet, but I hadn't met any of them. And so the first time I go there, I get to meet Jamar and Butch and Cameron and all them in real life, and play Third Strike, and that was the first time where I think that was my not my first out of state tournament, but I got like fifth or something like that. KLT ended up getting like third. Um, that was the first time we heard about Shakib. Shakib came out. He was driving across the country coming tournaments. He came and he smoked everybody. And then guys, just quick tip: if you gotta play the man in grand finals, don't be giving this nigga casuals. He smoked Cameron first set, and then they played casuals. And you know how Cameron is. He nigga plays the cast, and he figured out, okay, this is how I beat him. And then they played grand finals, and he reset and beat him. So and then he was like, and he gave me casuals. I was like, can't believe he gave you casuals, bro. I would have gave you nothing. And that was really right too, because he ended up winning. He reset the whole set and won. But yeah, I think that first time going on there, I still talk to a lot of people out there, like Paul from St. Louis, Johnny Player, um, Bob Washington. When I see him, that's the first time I met him. He lived out here for a bit. Um, Tachibana, like a lot of Chicago guys out there, St. Louis guys. Yeah, so that was out there. That was my first one because that was my first time like really getting out there and meeting everybody from different states and everything.
What was Fusion? Was that the Colorado
Yeah,
Forums?
that was the old Colorado Forum, Colorado Fusion.
Okay. All right, half your last, bro. What's your memory?
I think I'm a piggyback tech here. For me, I would say my most memorable moments would have to be anytime I've interacted with a new group or just a group in general, from Aurora, hanging out in Victor's mom and pop's basement and really hanging out with Smiles, Vic, Cisco, to hanging and Scott, Paul, which is Woo. Holden used to come by, jumping over to the DVS crew, hanging out with Joe, GD, Will, and getting like the experience, CJE,
Mm.
Mace, really getting the experience with them, running out to Colorado Springs, Tech,
Yep.
Skills, Joe Son, all those guys, even going out to Nebraska. The first time we ever went out to Nebraska, hanging out with Tremaine, freaking Chris. I'm giving all the government names.
All right.
Jamar, Daytrick,
Yeah.
all that crew
Oh
in
man, I forgot about
Nebraska.
Daytrick.
Yep, all the
I'll never
Nebraska
forget.
crew,
Well,
Kenshiro.
yeah, we walked the Dietrich
Uh,
Chris the first time. It's like, see that hole? That's gonna
yeah,
be your head. You act up in here.
right. Aaron, down to Texas, all my Dallas crew that I was hanging out with, Adnan, Boom Gorillas, the Goons. Shout outs to all of them, and then my Florida crew, obviously too, because that's the one most recently I was hanging out with. Shout outs to all my Florida crew, Akeem. Anytime I was hanging out with the boys there too, definitely memorable moments, drinking, hanging out, playing games, and just having a great time.
Mhm.
So anytime I was able to actually just enjoy the company of my folks, I would say would be my memory.
Shout out Florida. Shout out Soap. That boy
Hey.
Soap nice.
Like, I thought you was being funny. Like,
No,
so,
this no. Soap is a Florida player. I met him
because
at. I
video
was
game players
yeah.
smelling the best.
He
So
went
shout outs to
to
Soap.
CEO Taku, I think. Yeah, CEO Taku is when Marvel Infinite had just dropped, and he was playing. I forget what team he was playing, but he was playing. I want to say like Jetta and somebody, and he had some mix-ups, and I was following this nigga all weekend. Like I gotta watch these matches. 'Cause I was like, yo, he's doing this. He had some crazy. I think he made top 8 that year too. And I like ever since it's funny because I've met him in person one time, and then we've just been cool since.
I know. And that's what like people that don't play video games, especially like something like FGC, when like it's not just about playing the games, man. It's like the people you meet and like the conversations you have along the way, and like just learning shit, and kicking with the homies, and especially like it's payoff, man. Like when you do something and you work so hard for it, and you see like yourself succeed or your friends succeed or whatever, it's like it's just a great feeling, man, because like you're like, yo, I've been a part of that. And that's kind of what these podcasts were is like, yeah, we're actively doing this to recruit new people to Marauders, but like it's also like, bro, 10 years from now, it'd be cool as shit to go back and look at this and see the people that we had on here and see where we're at this time, kind of thing, where, just to kind of see where we're at years down the road. So,
For sure.
all right.
Yeah.
So
Go ahead.
go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
And I was gonna say, it's one of those things too where you never know who's gonna be here. Shout outs to Big D.
Yeah.
You never 10 years down the line, hey, maybe I'll be gone. You never know who's gonna be here, and just to have a record, with the community and showing love, that's dope. I think that's a dope thing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's why every time I come back to Colorado, even if I'm not playing something, I always try to stop by a tournament to see people, because it's like that's the hardest thing for me when I moved out of state was like, bro, you don't know when you're ever gonna see people again, kind of thing. And like, I mean, that's why I was a half where it's like, yo, I was kicking with him, probably every other monthly kind of thing at a tournament or whatever, and then he was like,
Yeah.
yo, I'm moving.
Then he was gone. And he was gone for a minute. Just got back. Like I
That
watched.
was what, 10 years, 12 years.
Yeah, like he was gone for like it's so funny to be like, because in my head I was like it's like he moved like a year ago. I was like, no, Half's been gone for damn near a decade. And I'm like, but in my head,
like,
yeah, like he came back with he came back with adults. Like he came back to his daughter. I'm like, hey, it's like I'm gonna have. It was like have kids. Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, you were a baby when you moved, so yeah, that makes sense. I'm coming back with adults
that's
over
how you
here.
know you meet good people, because like that's the kind of conversations you have with Half, where it's like, Brian talked to you in 6 months or a year or whatever, and then you just shoot him a note and you're like, it's like you just talked to him yesterday, kind of thing. So, all right, unfortunately we were at an hour. I always try to keep these to an hour to keep everyone's time into consideration. Don't have to hear us old people ramble about FGC
Yeah,
back in my
we
day.
we all got spouses who are tired of us talking about this bullshit.
So Halfro, it was a pleasure for you to join us tonight and to be on here. We got to get you playing some Street Fighter 6, because I want to see some Jamar versus Halfro. I want to see a Jamar versus Halfro in the first of 5. We can get that popping on Marauders. I
Okay,
think.
all right. Let me get my shit together. Let me get my shit together.
All right. Feel free to join us tonight for Community Night, Battle Hub 23. Even if I'm not there, please please join. It doesn't have to be just because I'm there. It's community.
Yes,
That's what
they'll
the
be
point
there. I
is.
got on late. I got on late last time, and people in there. I got some good matches. I got to play some people. Me and John got some matches for the first time in like 3 weeks. So come in here. People of all levels are in there. So come join up.
Yeah, and we just started 8 Central. That doesn't mean like you can get on before that. You can stay on like I just get on at 8 because that's what time works for me. So that's the whole point. If it's community day, damn it. Just join us. Somebody will come and come play with you. All right. So thank you so much for joining us again. It's always a pleasure. We'll see you guys next time.